What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Wednesday to all of you. Thank you for watching Sportsbook Review. This is Betting with the Bag, February 5th. The taint is hot. Taint has hit 7 straight on the show. It was a rough day, sort of, yesterday. 0-3 in NBA, 3-4-1 in NHL, 3-1 in NCAA basketball. Slight losing day. And wild swings of momentum. I thought that Devils game was going to be an easy casher. Obviously, Carter Hutton got absolutely lit up, where I thought maybe it was the beginning of a short turnaround for him, but rough. Very, very rough. Thank you for watching Sportsbook Review. This is Betting with the Bag. We have a packed card. We're going to start with NHL, go right into UFC, then NBA, then NCAA basketball. We have Parlay Poppy joining us here in 2 minutes to break down these two games. I have 2 plays on the Rangers game. I've yet to make a move on the Bruins game. Then we have Anna Merrick, a.k.a. Maximus in 3D, star of the Die Hard MMA podcast, joining us to talk about this Big Jones UFC night this Saturday at the Toyota Center. And right after that, Teddy Cover is going to join us to talk NBA basketball and NCAA basketball. There's a big NCAA basketball card. And then Maxwell Smart to hammer said NCAA basketball card. Maxwell Smart coming off a 4 and 5 day, down 1.4 units, but his play of the day cashed. And our Lamont Williams hit his parlay. We'll get into that very shortly. First off, shout out to Alex Ramirez. God, man, I love this guy. Just brings so much energy to the show. First in the chat, great hustle. And not to be, second is still good. Nasty Nate. Dylan Turner back in action. Arnold Valentine. Thank you for the kind words. Prime time DJS. Dan Kelly going up against me. I get very nervous when you're going up against me, but I do think this is a tough spot. With Hero hurt. There are injuries. So Leonard hurt, Hero hurt for the Heat, and I just feel like the Clippers have won 8-10, and they're just about to start rolling here. Tough flight across the nation for the Miami Heat players, but do not like seeing Dan Kelly up against me. There's Dave Berkey in the house. Dave and Cal 48. Primetime DJS says, Jimmy, never take the Sabres, bruh. The Sabres have been fine for me this year, and they lost badly, and congratulations to you and Parlay Poppy on all your successes, Primetime DJS. Matt Randall in the house, 7 straight winners. Dan Kelly says, be careful with the Hawks. T-Wolves trade should go down today. If not, then tomorrow they might sit key players. Very tricky spot, but I am on the Karl Anthony Towns prop over. Matt Randall, 3-1 on shows yesterday with a taint hitting for the 7th straight time. Taint. That's all I'm going to say today. Rod Zawacki had a nice day yesterday as well. And America about to pop on this show. Mark Unkefer ready to go. Eric Nisbet, Deer Slayer, Ski. What a great group. Chris Brady ready to eat here. Oops. Squad cap. Ready to go. Dan Kelly says, Oladipo needs some time to get in the group, but I really like Pacers to win the Eastern Conference. We'll hedge that out if they get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah, absolutely. And I know that there's nothing that these Pacers want more than to stop the Raptors' franchise-breaking win streak. And I am on the I'm on the Pacers plus 6.5. I bet it at 6. We will talk about it. Eric Nisbet said that under 245 in the Pels game, too easy. There's Jeffrey Ryan, tripled up on Colorado State. Yeah, and Jared, what was that? Sorry, it was a new sort of a name that I wasn't that familiar with. Came in with a very nice note about that game yesterday. J.R. Jimenez says sharp money came in on Fresno State because we saw the market move towards Fresno State, but they're terrible. Colorado State should win straight up. No need for the plus 1.5. And then we saw the play of the day from Maxwell Smart being that Colorado State first half. I love it. Okay, let's get to work. We have tons of work to do today. Alex Weir, St. Louis Elite, Peter Lucas, Nut Flush, Allen, Prince of the City. Major trades going on. There's Damian McCorston, Richard Lee, Dutch Boy Fresh, Kobe Z4. Hard for me not to say Z4. Kevin Pine says Devils are pathetic. That was wild to see them lose that. Jackie Treehorn. Shadow. There's our guy Shadow in the house. Great to see you, Shadow. Raven in the desert. Astute Chaos. Josh Point. Hey, Hilly Dave Chameleon. Josh Point, back, rocking with us. Nice to have him for this hockey card. Sergio Rodriguez, Jason Turgi, Doug Barnhouse. All right, Lotus Scalper, Gary Tenebra. First off, First off, just before we get into Parlay Poppy here to join us to break these 2 hockey games down, let's award Lamont Williams, now a 2-time winner of the Vegas Gun Award for capping excellence, came in and dropped another parlay winner last night. Let's see it. There you go, Lamont Williams. Congratulations. And thank you for all the hard work that you put in. It means so much to us. Von Polo says, my birthday weekend, I'm super excited for the UFC card. We're going to break that down here very, very shortly. Dan Kelly said, tain't nothing better than taint nothing better than taint play of the day. That would be good on a t-shirt. Okay. And Don Reach said, told you guys, hit those stars, overs on the road. Great call, Don Reach. There's Ski Profit in the house. And was there an easier play of the season than the under 6.5 in Columbus, Florida? I mean, it just wasn't an easier play. Hit both my unders last night. Hit the Anaheim, Toronto. But 3-4-1. Let's bring on Parlay Poppy right now. Parlay Poppy, how you doing on this Wednesday morning? The pride and joy of Long Beach, California. How you doing, my man?
What's going on, Jimmy? SBR low baggers. Congratulations to Lamont Williams, our man, our guy. Vegas Gun Award. We love you, my dude. So we had a decent day yesterday, 3-3-1 on the show, but I actually did get that Evander Kane goal prop. He did go on the Kings first period. I wish those got to the card on Twitter, Jimmy, but it was an okay day yesterday. Did pretty good. How about yourself, man?
I was a little disappointing. 3-4-1. It was a Devils shootout away from an okay night. 3-4-1 in the end. You were bang on with your Avalanche action. Taint play the day's in. Sorry. Taint play of the day is in. Let me copy and paste that right now. Miami +3. We'll be talking about that throughout the day. We've got 2 games to cap. And look, I don't know what my record would be without unders in NHL. 2-0 with them again yesterday. And this 7 is screaming. Oh, shit. Did I put that on the wrong? Sorry, I'm on the wrong one. Taint play today. Let me cut that from here and put that on my February 5th worksheet. This one's just screaming at me. I finally get a 7. Look, I don't trust Hutchinson here, and that's why I'm also on the Rangers. I got the Rangers at +125. I got the under 7 and -120 at 5 dimes. Both of those were available at 5 dimes. Let's bring up the best odds page on the planet, sportsbookreview.com. Let's go to spreads and totals here. That's been all-encompassing for all the leagues. It is money lines and totals for NHL. And Toronto opening up at -136. They're now -134. This under is getting touched. And I know why it's getting touched. I'm all over it. We have Shesty in goal. Igor Shesterkin, .927 save percentage. He's going to be loving this opportunity against the Leafs. And the Leafs don't have their number 1 defenseman, Morgan Rielly. They don't have their number 1 goalie, Frederik Andersen. And you're going to give me a plus line to fade them? I will do it with absolute pleasure. Rangers coming off 5-3 loss to the Stars at MSG on Monday night. I'm on the Rangers. I'm on the under 7. Poppy, are you making moves on Leafs Rangers?
Yeah, I mean, real tough for Maple Leafs in current form with Anderson going down with that injury. Against the Panthers, we had Hutchinson come in for 13 shots, Jimmy. He let 3 goals in. This Hutchinson is an absolute disaster, you know what I mean? Even in relief appearance, I don't know what to do with him. We got to remember that it's been tough. It's been a long road for Hutchinson. He's got 24 wins and 40 losses, hovering around the .900 save percentage since 2015 with those Jets. And we know that the Rangers, they're not in good form right now either. They're going 1-3 over the last 4 home games. But Shesterkin does look decent. He looks like he will be the 1B goalie for the time being. I do expect Georgiev to be traded, and it's interesting to see. We'll see exactly what the Rangers are planning on doing with this trade deadline, what they try to pick up, or if they do anything at all. If they're going to make a push, they got to do something with Georgiev. But, long story short, Jimmy, I certainly like the Rangers at home. I agree with that. But this Toronto offense really scares me. I mean, Rangers should get it done. Hutchinson has allowed 4 or more goals in 8 of his 14 starts. That's 60% of his games. 4 or more goals against these Rangers. I mean, of course they're live. And, I like the look you have on the 7, but it's tough with these 2 teams, Jimmy, with the 7. Toronto has been landing on that 7 goals in 8 of the last 10 or gone over that 7, and the Rangers are at 50%. And 5 of the last 10 have hit 7 or over. I can't do anything with this game, Jimmy, but I understand both looks on your side.
I also I think that Hutch I mean, you have to admit, sure, his season-long stats are bad. Sure, his career stats are bad. But he's only allowed 6 goals in his last 4 starts. So 6 goals on 116 shots. He looked terrible.
That relief appearance, though, Jimmy, this dude is not in good form.
That's tough, man. Relief appearances are tough. When you know you're going to start, it's easier. I said when Sheldon Keefe came up that this guy believes in Hutch. And Hutch could start playing better, and he did immediately. Now, I don't trust him that much, but you have to admit, he's been better of late if you don't think about what he did in that Panthers game 48 hours ago.
Well, you're on the under, Jimmy. I get it. And it's just tough with these offenses that are so live, and the fact that these games always go over with the Toronto Maple Leafs. If anything, Jimmy, this would be a spot for Hutch to step up. The Rangers are the better look, in my opinion. As a home dog, man, that would be my play if I had a free play to give.
Well, let's hear what you are going to do with this Bruins-Blackhawks game. This is a total that sits at 6. There has been a 17-cent move. I believe I'm still on a 5 dimes opener. There's been a 17-cent move towards the no, I'm on Pinnacle. Okay, there's been a 17-cent move towards the Chicago Blackhawks. Opened up a minus 174. Now it's at minus. Whoa! Speaking of which, 3-4-1. I dip back under the negative unit threshold. Rafa, my man, can we pop up the NHL record quickly, just for transparency? 3-4-1. You know, we don't count pushes, so 3-4 yesterday. Lost less than a unit. Halak Lehner. Bruins look very, very good right now. And the Blackhawks are playing better as well. But, man, this Bruins team, both teams on the second half of back-to-back, both teams could be dealing with fatigue. Is this a play on the over now that we're getting a 6 here when both teams are scoring? The other thing is that both teams' penalty killing are strong. 84.5 for the Bruins, 82.7 for the Blackhawks. Boston now within 1 point of the Capitals at the top of the East. They've won 4 straight overall, 3 straight since the All-Star game, and smashed their opponents. 13-3-3 against Western Conference, 7-2-1 against Central Division. Blackhawks coming off a 3-2 overtime loss to the Wild last night. Should have been on the Wild. They were an angry group. Kane held scoreless against the Wild, snapped his 12-game point streak. And the Blackhawks defeated the Bruins 4-3 in overtime on December 5th, and that started that swoon the Bruins had. Are you making a move here, Poppy, Bruins, Blackhawks?
Oh, Jimmy, I think I'm a glutton for punishment. I just got in the way of these Bruins yesterday with my sharp guy, my sharp angle, my plus 170 on the Canucks got absolutely fucking demolished. It's just so tough to step in front of this team right now, the Bruins. Now, you know, the Blackhawks' momentum seized when that All-Star break happened. Now they're 1-1-1. But I like to take them in back-to-back games, Jimmy. This is the best team in the NHL on a back-to-back. They are 9-1 on a back-to-back. And we know Lehner is much better at home. And this is a really interesting spot. This is really interesting that I'm still going on these Blackhawks here. Lehner has logged 1,300 minutes against these Bruins, allowed 61 goals over his career as a 92-2 save percentage, but he is 5-17 against these Bruins, Jimmy. What am I doing taking these Blackhawks? What I'm going to do is take these Blackhawks in only the first period because I know they're going to come out a little bit pissed. They do play well in back-to-backs, at least temporarily. They're going to come out into that good form I know they can do. The Blackhawks have allowed 0 goals in the last 5 games. Halak is weakest against non-conference foes. I'm taking a shot here, Jimmy, plus 130 with these Blackhawks in the first period.
God, what do you think about this total?
I lean team total under on the Bruins. It's at minus 135, and we got a 3.5. Minus 135 is just that number is getting way too high to be on team totals, in my opinion. I don't expect there to be a big flux to the over due to the fact that they're on back-to-back. I think that stat is not something that should be considered strongly when you're trying to lean aside. I'm sorry, not aside, a total. Back-to-back should be based on what the performance of this season has been. You got at least 10 games, double-digit games to go off a sample size, and typically they're not going flying over on back-to-backs, both of these teams, Jimmy.
I hear you. I do have interest in that 6.
Look, I'm a glutton for punishment, Jimmy, with these Blackhawks. I don't know what could happen here. These Blackhawks have been tricky to cap all year, but we'll get a fire plus 130 on the first period.
There we go. We got the Blackhawks first period at plus money for Parlay Poppy, and I am on the Rangers at plus 125 and the under 7 at minus 120. Those were both available at 5 dimes in the Leafs Rangers game. Follow this man on Twitter at Poppy_parlay, and you will be back to join us on Friday's show. Is that right, Poppy?
Yes, Jimmy the Bag. We will see you on Friday. Good luck to you on those Rangers games. Excellent call, by the way, on those Blue Jacks. 6.5. What a gift from the odds makers, Jimmy. Glad you cashed that one. But we'll see you guys on Friday. Let's go Blackhawks. Chi-town, baby. Plus 130 on first period. I'll see you guys Friday. Peace out. Bye-bye.
There he is, Parlay Poppy in the house. We go right from Parlay Poppy to Anna Merrick, a.k.a. Maximus in 3D, a.k.a. the star of the Die Hard MMA podcast, coming to us live from Phoenix, Arizona. Anna Merrick, how are you doing on this Wednesday morning?
Jimmy, buddy, happy to be on the show with you. And how about them Coyotes getting the ship right last night? Love seeing that. What's going on, low baggers?
That was a giant win for the Coyotes, and they need a lot more. And their schedule is very difficult over the next 15 or 20 games, but a good sign, a good sign. All right, big UFC card this weekend. Anna Merrick, set the scene for us.
We're headed to Texas this week, Jimmy, where if you may not know, I've got some roots. My grandfather actually was a badass car salesman from Texas. He told me some stories growing up about a man pulling a knife on him, and he kicked his ass right there in the car sales office. Threw him out on his butt. He told me that women are like Greyhound buses. If you miss one, another one's going to be along in about 5 minutes, so don't worry.
I like hearing that right now. That's perfect timing for me there, Anna Merrick. I like it. And I like your grandfather, the Texan. Let's get to work on this card. I have your action right here. Locked in on my worksheet. And now I'm going to Sportsbook Review odds page, and I'm moving over to fighting. And I'm going to hit UFC. There's Bellator there. There's also boxing. I'm going to go to UFC. Money lines. And I'm just going to stick with money lines right now. We'll see if there's different moves. Let's start with your first look. Mario Batista, Miles Johns. At Pinnacle, Mario Batista opened up plus 149. Now at plus 110. A big move towards Mario Batista in this Miles John fight. How are you handling it?
Jimmy, this is one where I am not afraid to go against this public line movement. I like our guy, Miles Johns. I looked him up at about minus 125. He is 10-0, undefeated. He trains out of a gym, Fortis MMA, that is on this card a whole lot. Texas is their backyard. This is a showcase card for this gym. So there's a lot of fighters who are going to be peaking at the exact right time, all together getting ready to rock on this fight card. He's your classic wrestle boxer. He's a tank. He's short. He's explosive. He's fast. He's got a huge double leg. And I think that he's just going to be able to wear on Mario Batista. I think this guy's going to be able to hit some takedowns in the early rounds, round 1, round 2, lock up 1 or 2 rounds and win a decision victory. He'll be able to hold his opponent down. Even though he's a little bit scrambly, he'll get scores for those takedowns. And if this is a close fight, we're in this kid's backyard. He's going to get the nod from the judges.
There we go. Miles Johns picked up at minus 125 by our Anna Merrick. Minus 125. Opened at minus 170. Anna Merrick not afraid of this big market move. Let's look at your next spot here. And it's the Bektic fight. Let's find it here on the board. Mirsad Bektic opening up at minus 120. This time the market is on Bektic. There's been a 12-cent move towards him. Do you agree with that market move? How are you handling this fight?
I absolutely agree with this move. You know me, Jimmy. Usually I like to play my dogs, but I'm taking a couple short favorites here this week. Mirsad Bektic, I locked him up at minus 129, and I just think this is an excellent bounce back spot for him. He's facing Dan Ige, who's a guy I'm actually relatively high on, but he's primarily a grappler, and I think that this is a spot where Bektic's skill set is going to be put in perfect use. He's coming off a tough knockout loss to a guy in Josh Emmett, who's just got unreal knockout power for 145. He got clipped. What are you going to do? It's a guy who I believe is probably going to be sitting around the top 5 or top 10 very shortly. So in my opinion, there's really no shame in that loss. This is a wake-up call. He's training out of TriStar, which is one of the best gyms in the world. He's going to have a game plan for Dan Ige, and I've got a sneaking suspicion, that it's going to include heavy grappling. I think he's going to come out, use his wrestling roots, and put Ige on his back. Ige's good off of his back, so he won't mind being there, which means he's going to be on bottom, and the judges always favor the man on top. And the other thing about Bektikid, he has got crazy grappling ability. You cannot take this guy down. He was fighting his fight before Josh Emmett. He stuffed every single takedown from a very high-level opponent. He sees them coming a mile away. If he wants the fight standing, it's going to be standing. Bektik's going to dictate where this fight takes place. He's also got the bigger power. He's got a lot of knockouts on his record. I think a short favorite line, -120, -130, that's perfect for locking this guy up. I expect him to bounce back here.
Miles Johns and Mirsad Bektik has started off Anna Merrick's card. Next up, you've put a parlay together that you are putting 2 units on. Why don't you take it away and break down this parlay for us?
Well, I've got to try the 2-unit parlay again, Jimmy. The week before, unfortunately, Rafael Dos Anjos shit the bed on us, and we weren't able to cash that one. It was 1-1 going into the third, and he made one bad decision that led to us losing that fight. So we're going right back to the well. I love this parlay. We have got Andrea KGB Lee, who is probably the cutest MMA fighter you've ever seen. She's a Texas girl. She wears the big cowboy hat. She is going to be spotlight front and center, and they have given her an absolute can to crush. She's facing Lucky Lauren Murphy, who's basically a worse version of her in every single way. Lauren Murphy, she hits hard, she's strong, she is durable, but everything else goes for Andrea KGB Lee. She's younger, she's faster, she's more athletic, she's more skilled on the mat, she's got hellish ground and pound. I think if she wants to stick and move and keep this thing at range, she absolutely can. If she wants to take it down and end it by ground and pound, she absolutely can. If this goes to the judges' scorecards, again, this is going to be a Texas girl in Texas, and Texas is very known for sketchy judging. She's going to get the nod. So she's a nice big fat favorite, but we are going to tie her to my boy, Alex the Great White Morono. He's another Fortis MMA fighter. He was supposed to fight Diego Lima, I apologize. And Diego Lima had to pull out due to an injury at the last second. So he's getting a short notice replacement fighter. And this kid, Khalid Williams, is stepping up to the biggest stage of his life on 1 week notice against a very, very tough competitor here. And he just doesn't have the skills. He's big for the division, but he's primarily a boxer. He has little to no ground game, and he leaves his chin wide open when he swings for his power punches. He absolutely swings for the fence. Morono is a technical brawler who's going to be able to piece him up on the feet, take advantage of those spaces, and if for whatever reason this thing does hit the mat, he's a slick wrestler, and he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He's absolutely going to have this fight cornered any which way it goes. Tying those two together should get you about -125, and I love that. I think this is a solid, easy parlay. I put 2.5 units on it to win 2.
I like it. Andrea KGB Lee and Alex Morono as a parlay. And then we get to the main event. Dominic Reyes, John Jones. And you found yourself a big plus spot. Take it away, Anna Merrick. How are you handling it?
Well, this is a spot for me that I've missed a couple of cards in a row. It could have cashed with regularity, and they always give you this big, fat, juicy line on it. But I was tempted by the dog in those other spots, as I tend to be sometimes just for shits and giggles. John Jones is the greatest fighter of all time. He's the best talent we've ever seen in the UFC. And he's fighting Dominic Reyes, a kid with a whole lot of hype, but really doesn't have a claim to being the #1 contender. He has not had that much experience, and the UFC is so thin at 205 because of John being so dominant. They just got to throw whoever they've got up in that spot. So he is not ready for this challenge. He's also very one-dimensional. He's got a good, solid left hand, and he does have some good leg kicks. But if you're not a well-rounded fighter, John Jones is going to find the hole in your game and just piece you apart. How I like to think of John Jones is he is the Bill Belichick of MMA. He absolutely will locate your best weapons, and he will take them from you in that fight. And then he likes to play with his food. John Jones likes to humiliate his opponents, let them know that they have no way out of the cage, and he's going to just beat them up in front of the world for 25 straight minutes. He's done it for the majority of his fights, actually, where he's got the ground game enough. He could submit them. He's got the wrestling ability to put them on their back and TKO them. He just doesn't want to. He likes to embarrass them. So I'm taking John Jones by decision at +230. Everyone's thinking that John Jones is going to win this thing inside the distance, and we haven't seen that from him except for in cases where he's had really heavy type of rivalries. Alexander Gustafsson, who was broken, and Daniel Cormier, which is one of the biggest bad blood matchups the UFC's ever seen. This is a spot where he's got a young upstart kid, and he's just going to make him look bad. Rather than laying the crazy minus 500 wood on John Jones, I'm going to risk 1 unit to cash in a big score at plus 230.
John Jones by decision, and that is Anna Merrick's card for UFC at the Toyota Center. Miles Johns at minus 125, Mirsak Bektic at minus 129, then a 2-unit parlay on Andrea KGB Lee and Alex Morono, and then in the main event, John Jones by decision at plus 230. Love having you on the show, Anna Merrick. Tell us a little bit about your Die Hard MMA podcast.
Well, we're starting year 2 of the Die Hard MMA podcast, Jimmy, and the last couple events have been a little bit rough for me, unfortunately. We are going to claw our way back into profit. I break down every single fight in depth, give you all my picks and leans over there, so go ahead, give me a follow at Die Hard MMA Pod on Twitter if you want to get that breakdown, and I'm planning on bringing a whole lot more content in the future. Thank you, SBR. Thank you, Low Baggers. Good luck this weekend, everybody. Let's cash some tickets.
There he is, An American. You can also follow his personal Twitter. That is at MaximusIn3D. Thank you so much for joining us, An American. We go right from UFC to Teddy Covers, where we're going to be talking NBA and NCAA basketball. A lot of hardwood action, and we came back to earth after a spectacular Monday, a difficult Tuesday. How are you doing today, Teddy Covers, my man?
I'm pissed off. I hate giving it back, dude. I hate having a big day and giving it back. And I probably should have gone lighter on yesterday's card. And I didn't. So I'm pissed off today. How are you, Jimmy?
I'm okay. It was a wild night of NHL and just a roller coaster ride, and ended up 3-4-1. So lost less than a unit, and then 0-3 in NBA. I did cut a little bit of cash off because I doubled up on the Spurs game, so I didn't bet my regular amount. I just cut a little bit off there on the double up, and that felt good after the first quarter, but fell apart. And then the Lakers 3-point barrage in the fourth quarter was difficult. And then look, Eric Gordon go 0 for 11 from 3. I mean, and then he still only misses a prop by 3 points. It was upsetting, but we're going to get right back at it. Shout out to Lamont Williams in the chat. Lamont Williams, I missed your parlay. I will be able to find it at some point looking back, but if you could hit me with that again. And Lamont Williams won our Vegas Gun Award for capping excellence. Two-time winner, Lamont Williams. Nice job with the totals last night in NBA. Teddy, my man, I think this card is very scary because we are 24 hours until the trade deadline. It makes me yearn for a late show. Man. So there's a lot of moving parts. I have made 2 bets on sides, and I've made 2 bets on props. But let's go right into the game I want to talk about the most, and that would be Pacers Raptors. Teddy, let's move over to NBA on the best odds page in the planet. Nice. We got Trevor Ansel in the house. We got the Kings back, Dog Bry, Guru Sports Bets, Julian Cesario, J Money is Money, Prince of the City. The team is together and ready to rock. Toronto opened up at -6. There was 1 6.5 at Bovada and 1 5.5. Our Sportsbook review page said Bet365 was only hanging a -6. For Toronto. They were hanging a 6.5, and I figured that would be the case because there's so many Canadians that hammer Bet365. I jumped on the Pacers plus 6.5. I know this is a difficult get-right spot, without a doubt, but there's a lot of pressure on the Raptors. We've been here twice before. 11 straight victories, going for the franchise record 12th straight victory, and we haven't got it. We've also beaten this Pacers team 11 straight times at home. You think they don't know about that? You think they don't know they're not right now? I just feel like there's going to be a lot of pressure on the Raptors, and the Pacers would enjoy nothing more than coming into Toronto and playing well. This is the beginning of a home and home. They meet again Friday at Indiana. Pacers lost 2 in a row. They lose 112-103 to the Mavericks on Monday. Sabonis has a great game. Oladipo being on this 24-minute limit. He's not shooting well. No TJ Warren. I do expect Oladipo's minutes to increase, even though they say they won't increase the minutes. I do think the minutes will increase tonight. I did take the Pacers plus 6.5. Teddy, take it away. Pacers, Raptors.
So my initial lean on this game was Toronto minus. And my concept is Indiana was a great moneymaker for me. December, January. Oladipo comes back. You're going to start fading the Pacers until they show it. And that's obviously been a methodology that's worked the last couple of games because they haven't been the same team. The chemistry's changed. The rotations changed. The quotes coming out of the locker room have changed. And not like they're going to be worse with Oladipo long term. But I need to see Indiana play a good game with this guy in the lineup. And they haven't done it yet. On the Toronto side of the equation, look, the Raptors just been mowing through teams. They've been a monster of late. Both ends of the floor. The defense has been there. The offensive execution has been tremendous. Their depth, I mean, all the injuries they've suffered. The Raptors are as deep with quality depth as any team in the NBA right now. There's a lot to like about this Toronto team. There really is. But I agree with your assessment that Indiana's coming to play. And when you look at what the Raptors have done through this winning streak, I can't imagine a team having faced an easier slate of foes when you look at them cumulatively, you're like, oh my God, really? Look at what Toronto, this is their last 10 games, all right? Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, Atlanta. Okay, bottom feeders, all right? They had a nice win at San Antonio. I believe the Spurs were it was a bad spot for San Antonio. I think it was the second of back-to-back or something like that. Then the Knicks, a Sixers team that can't win on the road and is falling apart in all kinds of different ways. Atlanta, Minnesota, Washington. That's their last 10. So to say they've taken advantage of a weak portion of their schedule is very true. Does that mean anything when they step up in class? Not necessarily. And this is clearly a step up in class for Toronto. But I want to see something out of the Pacers. I want to see an A game out of the Pacers, or at least an A- game out of the Pacers before I get on them. I've been betting against them the last couple of games. Like I said, my initial lean was Raptors, but it's one I'm going to leave alone.
This is a great breakdown, and I can't wait to watch this game. I knew that everybody would be on the Raptors tonight. I love your breakdown of who they've recently played, and the Pacers aren't going to keep playing this poorly, and they've lost 11 straight at home to the Raptors. This game means so much to that Pacers squad, and it means so much to the Raptors squad because they're going for their franchise record winning streak. I love this spot. And I don't like going against my team, but I know my team well, and they're coming off a 129-102 at home with Terrence Davis going off for 31 points. I mean, this team feels so good about themselves, and they're going to be focused. And we've been here twice before, and I am on the Pacers plus 6.5. Okay, let's keep rolling right now. Next up, we have Magic. Oh, sorry. I want to talk about this Suns spot, Suns Pistons, and another tricky spot with these Pistons. So we know Griffin been gone all year. Let's stop talking about him. But Kennard, supposedly, I know he's been out for the last month, but he could be traded. Derrick Rose sat out Monday's 96-82 loss, and he could be traded. Svi and Markieff Morris are both injured right now, and Drummond could be dealt before this game pops off. So there's a ton of moving parts with these Pistons. Snell, Doumbouya, Bruce Brown, Reggie Jackson. They're coming off a game where they looked absolutely awful. 23 points, went 8 for 50 from the field as a group. And the Suns have looked terrible. So I don't want to back the Suns here. I almost think a short-handed Pistons team could give the Suns trouble if we do wait and hear that Drummond's traded. Pistons have lost 6 of 7. They're a tough team to back at any point, at any time. Suns have lost 3 straight. They've allowed 117.5 points a game in their 6 losses out of their last 8 games. They've looked terrible on the first 2 games of this road trip. Milwaukee beat them 129-108. Brooklyn beat them 119-97. Teddy and I were both on Brooklyn in that spot. And then Booker coming off a really bad game, 3 for 15 with 11 points. I thought about maybe making a prop bet with him, but it's another 29.5. And I did take a 28.5 with a player, but I didn't want to take 29.5 here with Devin. But Devin's amped up for this game to bounce back. Suns, Pistons. Let's take a look at what the book's telling us. Detroit opening up as 2-point dogs. Now they're 3-point dogs. Is there a move to make here?
Yeah, I like 2.5 with Phoenix in this game. And you can still find 2.5s out there. It's fairly widely available. There are threes, but there are threes if you want 3 with Detroit, but there are enough 2.5s to say you can find a 2.5 right now with the Phoenix Suns. And this is a concept I've talked a couple of times on the show about. I'm going to talk about it one more here. Team on a road trip, blown out game 1, blown out game 2, game 3, they step up. I mean, you can go through team after team. It's just one of those nuances of the NBA schedule and nuances of a road trip. And this is Phoenix's show-up game. And you talked about the quotes from Booker saying, yeah, we got a bounce-back spot. We'll do it. It's a step down. And I mean, when we look at who Phoenix has lost to, look, they played Brooklyn, Milwaukee, OKC, the recent losses, Memphis, Indiana, San Antonio. That's their last 6 losses. There's not a lottery team in the bunch, and the Pistons are what they are. They're a mess. Who knows who gets dealt? Who knows who sits tonight for Detroit? I don't expect anything resembling a full roster for the Pistons. And I know I don't want Detroit without Derrick Rose in the lineup, and Derrick Rose isn't going to play. So it's a get-right spot for the Suns. Phoenix has a bunch of injuries that are an issue for their depth. In my mind, that's a positive for this game. That means we're going to get more minutes out of the starters. And Phoenix's starters are better than Detroit's starters. And it's a bounce-back spot against a bottom feeder. Yeah, give me the Suns minus 2.5. And so far, that's the only bet I've made on the NBA card.
I came so close to making this morning, and I held back. And I'll jump in. Minus 2.5, minus 105. You're absolutely right about 2 blowouts on a 3-game road trip. They've got to come in fighting. And that's what Booker was saying. That's what Booker was saying in interviews after the game. I will jump in. And yes, the Taint play today, Miami Hurricanes +3. I should have probably mentioned that was NCAA basketball and not NBA. As we know, the Miami 6.5 point dogs, or 7 against the Clip Show right now. Okay, let's keep rolling along. I've added Suns minus 2.5 and minus 105. Teddy's on it. I'm on the Pacers plus 6.5 and minus 115. That was available at Bovada. And my fault. I was actually wrong about the 6.5 that Bet365 was hanging. It was actually, I believe it was in this. Yes, it was at the Clippers. All the Sportsbook review said that the Bet365 was hanging in minus 6, but I was on the site. It was actually a minus 6.5, so that was wrong. It wasn't on that Pacers game, so my fault there. Okay, let's keep rolling along. Lots of games to get to, and we have time. No need to rush. Let's talk Magic Celtics right now, Teddy. Orlando, Boston. Orlando opening up as 7.5 point road dogs, now 8.5 point road dogs. The Celtics keep winning regardless of who is in their lineup. This total opened up at 211 and is now at 212. Magic pace last 5, 30th in the NBA, last 93.20 possessions a game. To put that in perspective, the Milwaukee Bucks are getting 15 more possessions a game. 15 more possessions a game than the Orlando Magic. Celtics pace last 5, 12th in the NBA. Celtics won 4 straight, 7 of 8, coming off 123-115 victory at Atlanta on Monday. They did that without Kemba, without Marcus Smart. They did that with Semi Ojeleye and Grant Williams running the 4 and the 5 spot. Like, it was pretty wild watching it go. Orlando won 112-100 on Monday in Charlotte. Teddy was on that spot. Gordon goes for 16 and 12 boards. Fultz goes for 12 points and 14 assists. Teddy covers Magic Celtics. You have a lean on this?
Yeah, my lean's Orlando in this ballgame. I think there's some bet on for the Magic. And we talked about a little bit against Charlotte, where they've been up against it schedule-wise. This is not a hopeless Magic team. And they, too, have a lot of guys that are being bandied about at the trade deadline. It may not be an optimal spot for Orlando. They've had a really good run here in Boston. They've won. I mean, they've kind of owned this Celtics team. They've won, each of the last 3 times they've been here on this floor. And when we look at this Celtics team, and again, what's Boston done of late? They've been killing teams. They've been killing good teams. This is my least favorite role for the Celtics. It really is. When they're laying a bigger price at home against a lesser foe. Boston's one of those teams like Denver that it's not always the best spot to be laying with the Celtics, not even maybe. And Orlando, after that rough road, coming out last time, getting the win, getting off the schneid, in a venue where they've played well, I thought they were live. All that said, the statistical profile kept this in the lean category. I did not pull the trigger on the Magic, nor will I. And that has everything to do when you start to look at the profiles here of these two squads. Particularly, we start to look at the offense versus defense, because Orlando's offense doesn't work and Boston's defense is elite. And I'm like, during crunch time, how many times have we seen the Magic, go 4 minutes without making a bucket, and one dead possession after the next and one contested jumper after the next? So the lean was towards Orlando. I have not pulled the trigger. I don't think that I will, especially because my powering number on the game is 10, and obviously we're looking at 8.5 as a prevailing number right now. So yeah, I'm not going to get there. I don't want to lay it with Boston in this spot. I really don't. And Orlando's been winning in Boston consistently, but it's a lean. It's not going to be a play, I don't think. Not at the current number.
I like that breakdown. I like that breakdown. Celtics just keep winning, but this is too many points. This is a Magic or no play for me at this number. What do you think about the total here, Teddy? Sorry, let me pop this up again. What do you think about this total sitting at 212, gone up from 211?
Well, the only game they played this year stayed well under 213. We saw a fair few unders between these two teams in recent meetings. It's not like they play. Orlando doesn't want to push pace against anybody. So I wouldn't argue with anyone looking at under in this game. It makes sense. But of course, the totals that make sense aren't always the ones that cash.
420 Fuego thinking about Orlando first half says Boston starts slow. Joshua Bell says Orlando's too slow to keep up with Boston. Who will cover? I can understand. I can understand that. There's Sanka in the house joining us. Astute Chaos says Boston has too many game time decisions. Yes, Kemba Walker is still questionable. Let's move on to, and there's Trotwam in the house. Lotus Scalper says Celtics for Magic lean Celtics, but spread is too high. Get them at -1.5 in the second quarter. Interesting look there. Okay, let's move on to Warriors Nets. Let's get Warriors Nets up here right now. And D'Angelo Russell could get traded in the next 24 hours, especially after those moves that were made yesterday by the Timberwolves. But it doesn't matter that much in capping this game because he hasn't played in the last 2 games, and the Warriors have won both of those. Golden State, Brooklyn opening up at -7. I was on them on Monday, and it was a very, very easy casher. But do I want them as 7-point favorites? I'm not sure. So they get 30 from Alec Burks, 22 from Glenn Robinson, these Warriors in that 125-117 win on Monday in Washington. And Kyrie out of the lineup. He'll be out of the lineup for at least the next week. Nets are 14-15 in games Irving's not played in. 4-2 over their last 6 games. And they dominated the Suns. And LeVert went into the starting lineup, put up tying a career high with 29 points, went 10 for 20 from the floor, and looked very good. But I don't know if I want the Nets to cover 7 here. Teddy covers Warriors Nets.
Yeah, I'm tempted by Brooklyn. I honestly think, I didn't pull the trigger before the show. But, as we talk, it really helps sometimes when you talk it out with somebody. And as you were talking, I'm like, yeah, I really should pull the trigger on Brooklyn here. I really should. As soon as we get done, the Nets, well, we can call this an official play. I'm going to play the Nets. I'm on the Suns and the Nets as quote-unquote officials. Let's start with the fact the Nets are looking at this week where their schedule has lessened with a sense of urgency. A couple of quotes out of that locker room saying, hey, we got to make up some ground before the All-Star break. We have the schedules and scheduling stretch to do it. And they do. Golden State off back-to-back wins. The last time they reeled off back-to-back wins, it did happen one other time this season. They ended up winning 4 in a row. That was all at home. It was over Christmas when everyone's all distracted. And this is the trade deadline where everyone's all distracted, but it's not the same way. The Nets aren't one of these teams that have a bunch of moving pieces and everyone's expecting big deals and everyone's walking around on eggshells. It's not that kind of case. So the success that Golden State had during that one previous run, hey, they won 2 in a row. Damn, they won 4 in a row. I'm taking that with a grain of salt. You look at what they've done winning these two East Coast games so far. And who'd they play? They played Cleveland and Washington. The Wizards' defense is as bad as it gets. Are they ranked 30th? If they're not ranked 30th, they're ranked 29th in just about every defensive category. Washington's defense is atrocious. And Cleveland, the Cavs are what they are. Their defense isn't good, their offense isn't good, their chemistry isn't good, and Golden State was able to take care of those two teams pretty easily. Brooklyn's is a step above, a big step above those two teams on both ends of the floor, and the fact they're playing with urgency, and the fact that we have the Warriors off back-to-back wins. All right, so we have D'Angelo Russell going back to Brooklyn. D'Angelo Russell's not going to be there tomorrow. I don't even know who's going to be there tonight. I like the Nets. I thought the price here is very reasonable, -7. We'll get in my pocket. Again, my powering on the number with Brooklyn, -9.5. So I'm seeing value on the net side. And the fact that they've been covering these numbers as home chalk each of the last 3 tries, we've had them a couple. We'll have them again tonight.
There we go. We have Warriors, Nets. Teddy's locked in his second spot on his card with the Brooklyn Nets. Let's move on to Cavaliers, Thunder right now. Cleveland, OKC. OKC opening up as 12.5-point favorites, now 13-point favorites. Its total opened up at 221, now is at 220. Cavs pace last 5, 16th in the NBA. Thunder pace last 5, 19th in the NBA. Cavs are coming off their 4th straight loss, 139-134. At home in overtime to the Knicks. They've lost 11-12. This could be Kevin Love's last game. He could be traded at any minute. Tristan Thompson could be traded at any minute. Oklahoma City comes in after winning 7 of their last 8, and they're well rested. They haven't played since Friday night, 111-107 win at Phoenix. And Terrence Ferguson's going to be back in the lineup. If there's no trades before game time, I kind of think the Thunder could start out slow, and the Cavaliers first quarter could be a look. It was something I did so well with last year and have done so. Oh, speaking of which, 0-3 day high water mark gone. Rafa, could you put up my record? Sorry, I didn't put it on. I don't want you to think just because of a losing day it won't be up there. But that lost about 3.5 units yesterday. Disappointing. Okay, so in saying that, I probably don't want to have anything to do with Cavaliers, and it's a mistake. And I've lost money with them this year. But I think the Thunder could start out slow. Cavaliers, Thunder, any leans here, Teddy?
So first of all, you can't be mad about the Eric Gordon prop yesterday. It lost, all right? The guy went 0-12 from three-point range and still came a bucket short. He got 22 shot attempts. So that one, the other ones you can be mad at. The Gordon, the thought process was right. It didn't play out. And unfortunately, that means we're not at our you're not at your high water mark. So me neither. Let's see if we can get back. When it comes to Cleveland OKC, it was a couple of weeks ago on the show. I was talking about the Thunder hadn't covered a single point spread all year, laying more than 7 points. I liked Atlanta that night in OKC, and that game was over well before halftime. It was certainly over by the third quarter. Thunder just bombed them. It was 140-111, if memory serves correctly, but it was not a game. It was not competitive. And the thought process of, OKC is great in all the other point spread roles, but this double-digit chalk or this big chalk is not where we want the Thunder. I still kind of agree with that, even though that particular play lost and Atlanta didn't play any defense that night and OKC was hitting. So I'm not going to talk you out of a Cleveland play. This is not the role that I want the Thunder in. The Thunder are great. Hey, you want the Thunder? In game, bet them down 10. Anytime you see it. That team fights. But building margins and extending them and holding them, that's not been their MO. All that said, teams are doing whatever they want against Cleveland right now. The reason Kevin Love hasn't been traded is because nobody wants him. Okay? Not because they're not dangling him. They've called every team. Nobody wants Kevin Love, literally. For the money that he's getting paid, I think it's this year and next. And the leadership skills he's exhibited or not exhibited, that's why he's in Cleveland. And I wouldn't be surprised if he stays in Cleveland. You talk about Thompson and his questionable status tonight. And when you take the very worst teams in the NBA, you get what you pay for. And, maybe the Cavs lose this game by 9. Maybe they lose by 11 and hang within the number. But do I expect Cleveland to go in there and give a competitive game for 4 quarters to the Thunder? I do not. And those are the underdogs that I want. Cleveland's not one of them. Pass.
I get it. I may pull the trigger on the first quarter, plus 4.5. I may pull the trigger.
That makes sense. First quarter, first half makes sense. Because OKC is a team that has tended to play to the level of their competition, especially early in games, and they tend to turn it on a little bit later. But it makes sense. Making sense and cashing tickets aren't always the same thing, but it does make sense.
Loaded Scalper saying good pass, and I got the Kings back saying hell no. I got my guy Viper saying don't do it, Jimmy. Don't burn your money on bad teams. Okay, let's move on to Hawks, Timberwolves, another spot where there's a ton of moving parts with trades right now, and then the Hawks are completely beat up. Reddish concussion, DeAndre Hunter ankle, Bruno Fernando calf strain, DeAndre Bembry right hand neuritis. I think that I get that too when I jerk it too much. Alex Len right hip flexor strain. You got Lloyd Pierce without Jabari Parker as well. So it's all going to be Trae Young, John Collins, Kevin Huerter. And then we saw what happened when all these new players were in the lineup. Young passing the ball, nobody there. 9 turnovers for Trae Young. Wolves have lost 12 straight. They've not won since January 9th. You know, they're in these games. I mean, only 4 of those 12 losses have come by double digits. Karl Anthony Towns coming off 22 points. I don't know who's going to slow Karl Anthony Towns. There's going to be no Allen Crabbe. There's going to be no defense played on this. And I did pull the trigger on Karl Anthony Towns over 28.5 points at minus 120. Farsha Asami says Hawks straight over. Hawks, Timberwolves, Teddy, is there a move to make here?
So I wouldn't argue with your cat prop, but from a side or a total standpoint, no freaking way. No way am I laying 5 with Minnesota. Can't do it. And I understand they've been competitive in these games. And I've also watched this team choke away leads again and again and again, even at home, even against weak teams. Get right spot. Sure, it's a get right spot. Okay, do it. You know, sometimes you want to be proactive. When a team's lost 12 in a row, I'm going to be reactive when it comes to laying points with them, right? You know, I can understand, hey, I want to be pro. Let's get ahead of the T-Wolves. They're about, you know, I don't see Minnesota about to put everything together right now and go on a monster run, you know, especially with, I mean, Wiggins has been awful and nobody wanted him, you know. They're trying to trade him. There's another guy like Love, big, you know, the big name in the media. When you talk to the GMs, no, they don't want Wiggins, and that's why he's still in Minnesota right now. So the other choice there, of course, is Atlanta. And Atlanta, I mean, I have no idea who's going to play for the Hawks tonight. I like the trade a lot. I think Capella brings a really nice piece to the puzzle for a team that was desperate for some type of low post defense and low post offense, for that matter. I mean, I really like the trade. And from a Rocket standpoint, it's a head scratcher for me. It's a big head scratcher. So moving forward, maybe we see a little buy sign on Atlanta. But for tonight, where nobody's going to play, I mean, who's going to play for the Hawks? Have you seen this you know, in and out report? I mean, Hunter, Fernando, Capella, Bembry, Reddish, Len, Parker, you know. That's a lot of missing pieces for a team that just made a major trade and wasn't necessarily a team that had a great sense of who they were before the deal. It's one of these games that there's so many. I'm not excited about backing either side. There's so many questions for both teams. And it's much like Cleveland OKC, where you look at it for a couple minutes, you're like, no way. I don't want this game. Even from a total standpoint, you're like, yeah, this game should be a shootout. There's no defense on either side. But again, much like, thank you, chat, for helping me stay off of that over yesterday in the Pelicans game that's sitting at 246. Here we're looking at a 240 total. And, you know, when your loser can get to 115 and lose by margin and the game still doesn't go over, it's hard to cash those, especially given I don't know what the Hawks offense is going to look like tonight. Easy pass.
What do you think about Collins getting all this run before Capella's in the lineup? I mean, his point total player props at 20.5. He cashed for me on Monday so easily, and he had 4 points after the first quarter, and he cashed at 19.5 so easily. Do you think that 20.5 for Collins is an easy over spot?
I sure as hell wouldn't play it under. I'll put it that way. I mean, it makes sense. It makes a ton of sense. 19.5 sounds very reasonable.
It's actually 20.5 today because the 19.5.
Oh, that's where they're going to get you.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to think about that for a little longer. Let's keep rolling along. Next up, Grizz Mavericks. Man, these Mavericks just keep on winning. Mavericks open up as 4.5-point favorites at home. seems like an okay price. 5 at Bovada and 5 dimes. His total opened up at 229.5 at Pinnacle. It's all the way down to 226. Grizzlies pace last 5. It's slowing slightly. They're now 7th in the association, 103.20. They've sorry, lost my train of thought there. Possessions a game. There we go. Mavs pace last 5, 20th in the NBA, 99 possessions a game. Luka out. They keep winning. KP goes out for 38 points, 12 boards. Now 112-103 road victory over the Pacers on Monday. That came after Jalen Brunson looked spectacular against the Hawks in a 123-100 win. Memphis comes in winning 5 of their last 6. 96-82 win on Monday. Valanciunas goes for 26 and 17, and they beat up on a tired, broken Detroit Pistons team. Grizzlies, Mavericks, a move to make here?
So my initial lean was to ride the Dallas Mavericks again. Dallas cashed a couple tickets for me since the Luka injury. We've talked about the concept of how, when you have Jalen Brunson and J.J. Barea and Seth Curry, and you can handle the loss of a superstar point guard because the depth is there. So my first lean is absolutely, and then again, the Mavs have cashed tickets to me each of their last 2 ball games. And when you watch Brunson play, man, the guy's a stud. He's a stud. I don't know if he'll be a starting point guard in the league, but I'll take Jalen Brunson on my team. Whatever team I'm on, I'll take Jalen Brunson on. And he can have all my minutes. But the problem for tonight of riding this Dallas, and again, the only way I'm playing this is Dallas because I'm riding Dallas without Luka. But I'm very concerned tonight because don't know if Curry's going to play, don't know if Barea's going to play, and that's the backcourt depth. When you're without one guy, okay, without 2 guys, okay, without 3 guys, including the starter, now you start to worry. And Memphis is a team I have no interest in stepping in front of. The Grizzlies have continued to achieve and overachieve. That's a confident team. They've had success in Dallas. They've had success against the Mavericks. They've been really good underdogs. And that's going to keep me off riding the Dallas train one more time tonight. So, the lean was Dallas, but I'm not getting to the window there.
Leaning Dallas, not getting to the window. We have Blake Elming saying thoughts on Wofford, VMI. We're going to have the rest of the show on NCAA basketball, Blake, so we'll get to that very soon. Just 2 games left on this NBA card. Nuggets, Jazz. I took Donovan Mitchell over 22.5 points at -115 earlier. It was just last week. He was held for 4 points in 35 minutes in a loss at Denver, and I think he takes it out on these Nuggets who are going to be playing with a short bench. So they trade Beasley and Hernan Gomez and Vanderbilt in that trade. They're going to get Vonleh, Napier, Bates Diop, and the 2020 first rounder back, but won't be in the lineup today. They're already without Millsap, Plumlee, Porter Jr. And they lose Jeremy Grant to a sprained right ankle. He's questionable for today. Jamal Murray does return. Do the Jazz just destroy the Nuggets here tonight? This empty Nuggets bench that we're going to be looking at all night. What do you think here, Nuggets, Jazz, Teddy? Let's just take a quick look at the number. It's 9 for Utah at home. This total's gone from 217 to 215.5.
I mean, Utah's supposed to destroy this team tonight. They are. It's Denver, as you mentioned, on the second of back-to-backs off a nice win. And more importantly, it's Utah returning home off 4 straight losses with 4 days off. So in terms of okay, what's our focus on this game? There's a lot of focus on beating Denver tonight. And Denver, with the trades, with the game last night, and again, they didn't play major minutes. There was a blowout win. It was everything went right from the get-go. But it's certainly a Utah spot. But something's been wrong with the Jazz. I mean, what we saw I've seen this. Quinn Snyder's been there for 3 or 4 years. And when Utah's in sync, they go on these extended runs of excellence where they go 15-3 ATS over an 18-game span. And when they're struggling, it's another one where I want to be reactive, not proactive. I got to see Utah play a good game because they had a couple of spots where they're supposed to step up during this skid. Including the game against Denver was one of them. And it just didn't happen. And going into that little stretch before the All-Star break, after that extended run of excellence, I do worry about the Jazz winning by margin. It's the only way I'd play it, Utah or pass, but it's going to be a pass for me.
Yeah, it sounded appealing at first, but the more I sat with it, and then Tom Marino giving us a good point saying Denver matches up well with Utah. Gobert can't guard on the perimeter. He struggles against Jokic. I'd lean Denver even at this price. Mitchell over 22.5 points is my look there. And then I took the Clippers minus 6.5 the last game on this big NBA card, and very nervous to hear Dan Kelly on the Heat money line. I just, with Hero not playing, or I'm expecting him not to be in the lineup. No Myers Leonard. So you take these two guys that hit shots, that can hit shots and big threes. You also have Justin Winslow out for defense, and then you have Miami flying all the way across the country after they beat up on the Sixers 137-106. And the Clippers have won 8 of 10 games, and they're healthy. And I just see this as a very tough spot. A very tough spot. There were 7s everywhere, but 6.5 at bet 365. I took the bet 6.5 and I bet it. I'm on the Clippers minus 6.5 here. What's your move, Teddy Covers, Heat Clippers?
Yeah, my number came shorter, although it didn't factor in the Hero injury. But my number is 4.5 on this game. I hate betting against the Heat, man. That team they're so tough. They're mentally tough. They're physically tough. The Clips went into Miami and beat them. Competitive game, just a loss that Jimmy Butler was talking about avenging. Without Leonard, without Hero, that's again the two guys on the perimeter who every night, are capable every night. Leonard, they made a big push to get him being more aggressive, and then immediately he got hurt, which is often the case in the end. Your usage goes up, and there you are back on the bench again. But I'm in no rush to fade Miami as a dog against a team that just went in there and beat them on their home floor last week, and that's a loss they were recent enough that they remember it. That said, I'm in no rush to step in front of the Clippers. That's an elite basketball team that when they're facing someone who they're interested in, they're a hard team to fade, and they're interested in Miami. So fun game to watch, not a game I'm betting on.
I just added the John Collins prop over 20.5 points. Justin, have fun. Justin Grimer going to be at the Bruins-Blackhawks game today. Have fun. Also, big happy birthday to Canadian Capper. Much love to you. Canadian Capper out of Windsor, Ontario, right across the Detroit River. Much love to you. Okay, that is our NBA card. Teddy came in with one look and then added a second look on this. He came already in with, let me grab it right now, with the Suns minus 2.5, and I've tailed that, and he added Nets minus 7. Teddy, we are going to move over to Maxwell Smart for college basketball. Did you make any plays in college basketball that could give us some extra information while we break games down with Max?
Number one is Maxwell Smart does a great job of breaking down college hoops. His info's better than mine right now, unfortunately. I give him credit. Dude's nailing it, and that's certainly a much-watched segment every day. My college hoops have been ice cold. I'm not making a move at all on today's card. I considered 2 plays. I talked myself out of both of them. I considered Oklahoma State. I wanted to fade TCU. I considered Clemson. I wanted to face Virginia. And the line didn't – the money came against me in both. My line wasn't as good in both of them. I'm like, let's just take a day off of college hoops. I haven't won a game in college hoops since last week. So I'll be listening to Maxwell Smart, but I did not play anything.
We have looks from Teddy on the Suns minus 2.5 and Nets minus 7, and some interest in Oklahoma State Clemson, but not enough to get to the window in NCAA basketball. Teddy, thank you so much for joining us. Can't wait to have you on Thursday and Friday for more breakdowns. You can catch Teddy Covers here every morning on Betting with the Bag. Teddy, thank you so much, my friend. Follow this man on Twitter at Teddy_Covers, and have yourself a profitable day, my friend, and we will see you again tomorrow morning.
That's all I'm looking for, man. Scratch out a profit and get through the next day. Cheers, guys. Thank you, low baggers. Have a great afternoon and evening. And thanks, Jimmy. Good luck tonight.
Oh, it is our pleasure. Let's bring Maxwell Smart into the game right now. Rafa, will you please roll the intro?
It wasn't until 2018 that the diamond in the rough went from hooligan to king of the world.
The guy couldn't play for shit, dog. He was awful. But can he cap? Yes, he can.
Maxwell Smart coming off a 4 and 5 day, down 1.4 units, but record still beautiful. Rafa, could you pop up the record on official betting with the bag plays from our Maxwell Smart? Over 50 games over 500, 541 and 485, 56 games over 500, 1.83% ROI, making a lot of people proud. Max, how are you doing on this Wednesday morning?
Obviously, I'm a little disappointed that the show picks went the way that they did, but it is what it is, and shooters shoot, and I'm going to shoot again. So I already got a bunch of plays out. There's a bunch of additions I want to make, and I got a Alzheimer's patient memory from yesterday.
I like it, Max. Let's get right after it right away. I see that you've doubled up on a couple spots. You are going back to the well on Citadel overs. You got off the Citadel overs and they stopped hitting. And now the number is getting down to right where you like to take them. And that is over, in that 145 range. You're on the Citadel over 146. I've now locked in all your plays on my worksheet. Let's talk about this Citadel over right now. Oh, Max, we're losing your, you got to get the...
Sorry,
no
I was
problem.
on mute again. My apologies. Didn't want to give you guys the good old nose whistle. The bottom line is this is a Citadel team that I think that we've gotten off these overs because they really try to start to play a different style of defense and really slow their pace down and actually try and move the ball and get open shots in the half-court offense. Well, we've seen the results of that. They've been getting blown out by 20-plus points in the majority of games since that they employed this strategy. I think that against Greensboro, you have to be able to move and up your tempo against them at all costs. You know what's going to happen if you play Greensboro's tempo. You're going to struggle to get to 50. You're going to lose by 25, and that's going to be that. So I think that Citadel really tries to push the ball. We know the pieces that they got. We've seen the different kinds of performances from different guys, and I think that tonight they're going to be able to at least get this game close to getting over. And I think Greensboro is going to be lured into the kind of tempo that Citadel wants to play. At this number, it makes sense. At 153 or 152, it does not make sense. That's how I look at it.
All right, Citadel, Greensboro. First look on Max's card. He has jumped on the over in this spot. Wow, another reason why you have to follow on Twitter. He gets in at 146. It's all the way up to 151 to 152. Great job, Max. Follow this man on Twitter. I will post his Twitter handle here right now. The next look that you have made a little double up here is on Hartford. You have taken Hartford at +3. And you've also made a move on Hartford under. Let's see what we're dealing with. God, I just screwed this up so many games. UMBC here, Hartford, UMBC. And it's going to take me a second to pull it up. I pressed the wrong button. Tell us why you're on Hartford in the under here against UMBC.
Yeah, this is a Hartford team that's been putting in work ATS. They've been filling their pockets. They've done a fantastic job of overachieving from a team that lost 4 starters from last year. I think that when you have Malik Ellison and Miroslav Staffel and guys like Tracy Carter running the point, you got a blend of experience, a blend of Power 5 exposure, and I think at 3 points, this was a good number, and at under 133 and a half, it's a good number also. So what did I get? I only got 133 on this game. Sorry. No, I did get the 133 and a half. When I look at this Hartford team, what have we seen from both Hartford and UMBC? They play games in the high 120s. When this line opened at 129 and a half, I thought that it was more realistic to what the overall combined score was going to be. Now you want to up it up by 4.5 points. I don't see why this is going up. When I looked at Hartford, these two teams combined in conference for a 3-12 to the under trend. When I looked at the numbers of how these games went under, they're all in this point range. So when my created lines matched up and showed value, and at 133 and a half, I think that there still is value. Even at 133, I like this game down to 130 and a half. Plain and simple. And I think Hartford wins the game, but I'm not going to take them on the money line on the show.
Hartford +3. Our guy Barry McCockiner says Hartford has been cashing for real. Reese says Whalers are cash money. Next up for Max. Max, you're backing Western Carolina on the road at Sanford. Western Carolina opening up as 5.5-point favorites at Pinnacle, now 3.5. Max gets in at 3.5 at -106. Max, why are you backing Western Carolina here?
I just plain and simply believe that Western Carolina with Mason Faulkner, Carlos Dotson, and Matt Halverson and company, these guys are overachieving. They are ascending, whatever you want to call it, however you want to call it. This is a team on the rise. This is a team that's been putting some money in your pocket as of late. I was on the wrong side of their most recent game, and I watched that game. I saw how they played. I think that this team is going to be able to make shots, whether it be inside or outside. They get to the free throw line. They make their free throws. They lure teams into playing their tempo. And Sanford, let's not kid around. They burned you over and over again if you've been betting on them. They're 5-15 ATS. That matters. I'm pretty much in a situation where I fade Sanford if I can get under 8 points. And also, when it comes to Western Carolina, this is a team that I think can get this game over pretty much on their own. I think that they can get to 90 or 100 for Sanford tonight. So I definitely like the over. Between these teams, both these guys tend to go over this type of number. And when it comes to Western Carolina and the side, you're giving me a significant discount on what I thought that this line would be. I thought that this line would be 7 to 7.5. So at this number, value, hence why I made the bet. I even want to add the first half as my first addition because I view Western Carolina as having at least a 12-point advantage in the first half.
Wow, let's give that to you right now. But you're not going to make a move on the total?
No, I'm not going to make a move on the total just yet. I think that if it comes down a little more or I see some movement, then I'll make it official. But right now, as it stands, I'm going to leave it alone as far as an official play.
All right, Western Carolina first half. I can give you a -2. Oh, wow. I imagine, or you can have -2.5 at +108. -2 at -110 or -2.5 at +108 at Pinnacle.
Yeah, let's go for the 2.5 at +108.
All right, we're going to take Western Carolina. First half, -2.5 at +108, a plus spot for Max. Wow, is that appealing? I'm going to copy and paste that because I am going to add that to my card. That's my first addition to the card. That plus number looks nice at Pinnacle. Western Carolina, first half -2.5 at +108. Okay, Max, let's keep rolling along. You doubled up on Western Carolina first half and full game there. Next up, we have Long Beach State. Long Beach State, you grabbed them at +1.5 at Cal Poly. Why are you doing this?
Yeah, this is a spot where I think that Long Beach State's able to sort out of their losing funk. I think that Cal Poly definitely shot the ball better at home. That's been on full display. But I think that in this game tonight, I think that the combination of guys like Michael Green and Chance Hunter and Colin Slater, they're going to be able to take care of business. I like the number as Long Beach as a favorite at +1.5. The value's there. That's why I made the bet. And I think that Long Beach State, although they've been inconsistent, they do have a pattern. And I think that the pattern indicates tonight that they get the win.
All right, we have a game that's popping off at 6 p.m. Eastern, an hour before the other ones, and you've made a move on it. Loyola, Chicago, Indiana State, you are on the under. Let me move over to it. Sorry, I'm still on first halves. Full game spreads and totals here at sportsbookreview.com. Let's get you that Loyola, Chicago under right now. This game pops off again at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Loyola, Chicago, Indiana State. It opened at 128. It's still there at Pinnacle. The other books have taken it down to 127.5. You got that 128. Why are you on this under?
Yeah, this is a spot where I think that when you look at Loyola, Illinois, this is a team that's definitely playing fantastic lockdown defense. They're doing a lot of good things when it comes to offense. The only weakness I think they have is when it comes to free throws. They do a good job of defending the three-point line, but they're going up against a team in Indiana State that does that well also. I think it's going to be critical for Indiana State to really come to play tonight, and I think that this is a team that with Tyreek Key and Jordan Barnes, they can play Loyola's style and win this game. They lost by 20 in the first game. It barely stayed under the 132.5. And I think that tonight it's going to be a similar type of struggle for Indiana State to score the basketball. And I think that Loyola, Illinois on the road is not going to be able to get to 65. So there's value on this number the way that it is. And I can understand why people would be a little less sure-footed to get on this line, but the fact is, in conference, these two teams have combined for 16 out of 20 games to the under, and they've been in this point range. And I feel like when we have that consistency of unders in a certain point range, it's a trend that we have to keep on riding, and that's what I'm going to keep on doing. So just to validate it even more, Noli Knows is on this. This is one of This is one of his plays. So if the Master Jedi of unders is on it, then I definitely like it, and that just makes it even more confident for me.
Max, great pace. We're keeping a nice pace here. Let's move on to your next look. Northern Iowa at Valparaiso. You're back, Northern Iowa. You waited. This market started at 4.5 at Pinnacle, went down to 2.5, and that's when you pounced. You got Northern Iowa -2.5, -112. Why are you backing Northern Iowa on the road here?
Yeah, being someone that watches a lot of Valpo basketball, it's pretty simple. I think that this is a bad matchup for them. This reminds me of the Loyola game. You're stepping up in class when it comes to MVC foe. Northern Iowa makes their free throws. They get to the three-point line. They can penetrate the bucket, and they play good defense. Valparaiso is going to have to be on point tonight to win this game. Obviously, Javon Freeman-Liberty is a catalyst and definitely a candidate for Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year. But in this matchup, it just doesn't match. So I took Northern Iowa when I saw the number. I see lines getting steamed all throughout the night. Wait till the morning, hit this hard, and I think Northern Iowa is just going to be a little too much. And I would have had this line around 5.5 to 8.5. So I got a big range of value on this line that I got.
You're also on North Dakota State on the road as a slight favorite, around the same point spot as Northern Iowa. North Dakota State opened at -3.5. Pinnacle has them down to 2. That's where you got them. North Dakota State -2, -111. Why are you on them?
Yeah, the difference between these two teams is simply this. North Dakota State can lock you down. And that's what I think is going to happen. I think that regardless of whether they're on the road or at home, this is a team that's battle and tested, and they've come together and recovered from what I would call a poor non-conference showing. When you see a team that has tournament experience and now tournament aspirations once again, they're hitting their free throws, they hit close to 80% as a team, and they're playing admirable defense. I think that you got to be able to lock down the paint and really stop Nebraska Omaha from penetrating. With Gibson and KJ Robinson, you have guys that can get to the bucket and score. So you're going to have to be able to guard without fouling. And I think that watching South Dakota beat Omaha on their home floor a couple days ago, I got a good impression of what I think North Dakota State would have to do and believe that they can do it. The number has value, and from my perspective, this is a game that North Dakota State wins by double digits.
North Dakota State wins by double digits. North Dakota State and Northern Iowa. The taint, by the way, is the Miami Hurricanes +3. Matt took them on the money line as well. We will talk about that in a bit. Let's keep rolling. You doubled up there, though. You also jumped on the over 143.5 in North Dakota State, Nebraska, Omaha.
Yeah, I'm basically going against a trend of a trend that I read about home teams in the Summit League staying under. Pretty much, I just don't believe that. I have this game in the 150s, so I'm just playing my number, plain and simple there.
All right, there we go. We are rolling right now. Just going to copy and paste Raven in the Deserts parlay. Raven, thank you for sharing your hard work with us. Let me grab that right now, and let's keep rolling through the games that Max wanted to lock in before the show started. And the next one is the total in this Binghamton-Albany game. You jumped on the under. There's been no movement. Heritage has dropped at a half point. Everywhere else, it's 146. You got it at 146. Why are you on the Binghamton-Albany under?
Well, as much as Ahmad Clark and Cameron Healy can really light it up, it doesn't suit them to play a game like they did against Vermont, where they give up 86 points. It doesn't fit them to let a team like Binghamton do that to them. I think that with Sam Sessoms and George Tinsley, you have two really solid pieces for this Binghamton team from a personnel perspective. I think that when you've seen Binghamton play their best, definitely been upping in the scoring department. But I think that Albany is going to have to know this. They watch film like every other team. And I think that coming off a bad loss, you want to really lock down and solidify your defensive philosophy and fundamentals. And I think that this is the opportunity and the opponent to do so. This is a classic rebound situational spot. I don't really have a feel or a play as of right now on the side, but from a total perspective, if Albany's going to win this game and Albany's going to get back into their tempo, well, this game stays under 142.5.
I like it. Albany under, Albany Binghamton under. The next spot you're on is an over in UC Riverside, Cal State Fullerton. This total opened up at 132.5. It's up a half point or a full point depending on where you shop. You jumped in at 133. Why are you on this UC Riverside, Cal State Fullerton over?
Yeah, this is a real ugly spot, and I can understand why people would be shying away. I just think that Riverside's going to be able to score the basketball against Fullerton's defense. And I think Fullerton, what do? They want to drive to the bucket. They want to try and score the basketball close because, let's be frank, the three-point shooting is pretty ugly. On a good day, they're lucky to get to 32%. So when I look at this Fullerton team, I think that Jackson Rowe brings a lot of leadership and a lot of on-court leadership that is good to stay out of scoring droughts, and that's what I'm pretty much counting on. I'm pretty much counting that Riverside is able to make shots with Chisholm and Dikembe Martin, and Cal McRae can do some work on the glass and get Riverside into transition. And then the same thing with Fullerton with Jackson Rowe. Get on the glass, get in transition, facilitate the offense. He's got size, so it does create mismatches personnel-wise and in transition. So pretty much this is a game that I expect them not to be able to play quality defense, even though these are two bad offenses.
You made a late addition on a big dog, Maine at Vermont. Maine got up to 22-point dogs. That's where you got them. They're 21.5 right now. Why are you backing this giant dog?
Yeah, this Maine team, I think that they could just score the basketball just enough. We watched and saw what happened in the first game, real close game. I think that Vermont is ready to go against them, but I definitely think that this is just too many points. Vermont can win this game by 21 points and we all cash. That seems like value to me. And from my numbers, Maine as anywhere between a 4 and 7 point dog in a first half has value also. And that's the way that I'm looking at playing it. I'm looking at doubling up on Maine. I'm looking to hit them first half. I'm on them full game. And the fact is, I think that Maine understands what Vermont's going to be able to do on defense to try and limit their ball movement and trying to get open shots. But Vermont, we've seen them being able to struggle to get 70 points. And if they struggle to get 70 points, there's no way that Maine isn't covering the spread, in my opinion.
All right, let's give you Maine at plus 12.5, minus 105 at Bet365. Maine first half, that sound good?
That sounds like value to me, Jim.
All right, bag it. Maine first half. All right, while I'm doing that, Maine first half, start jumping into your additions, my friend.
All right, so definitely going to go to, first off, we're going to go to Lamar. So this Lamar game versus Central Arkansas, I think that the number's just short. I don't know why it's gone the wrong way, but I will definitely take Lamar on the first half if I can get better than 3.
All right, let's give you Lamar first half right now. Okay, here we go. Lamar first half. And come on. Okay, there we go. I can't give you 3. I can only give you... Oh, yeah, better than 3, of course. Sorry. What am I talking about? I can give you minus 1.5 at minus 119 or minus 2 at minus 110.
-2 at -110, please.
All right, Lamar, first half, -2 at -110. Okay, keep firing away, Maxie.
All right, so we're going to this game. It's called the Creighton motherfucking Blue Jays. And you know what they're going to do tonight, Jim? And my numbers like it. The stats definitely back it up. And Providence is playing a little sloppy on a home court. I hope Dean Williams isn't watching this, but this is a bit of a hard choice, you know. I love the addition of Denzel Mahoney to this Creighton lineup. It's been a beautiful addition from his size, rebounding, and scoring perspectives. And I think that this is just a Creighton team that, against Providence from a matchup perspective, has too many advantages to ignore. So I'm taking Creighton full game, plain and simple. And I like Creighton first half.
Would you prefer the points or the money line? I can give you a +2 at -102, or should we take a look at the full game money line?
No, I'll take the +2 at -102. That's very good juice. That's better juice than I've got.
+2 at -102 for the Creighton Blue Jays. That's available right now at 5 dimes. +2 at -102. Okay, keep rolling, Max.
All right, so next we're going to go to this UMass Lowell game. Plain and simply, I think that UMass Lowell lures you and tempts you into scoring the basketball. Sometimes I feel like they actually just let you get to the bucket and score easily. So I'm going to jump on this over. I think that Stony Brook is definitely going to be challenged if they don't try and score the basketball and are aggressive. With Malachi Foreman and Elijah Olani, you got very good, capable scoring right there. Miles Latimer running the point. So Stony Brook can do their part. I think that with UMass Lowell, we know that about Christian Lutete and Obidan Noel, but it's all about Josh Gantz getting to the rim, getting easy buckets, getting us easy points with not a lot of time coming off the clock. I think that happens tonight. When you look at UMass Lowell games in conference, this is a team that you can regularly sell points on their overs and hit even at this range. So I liked the over at the opener when it was at like 157. I still like it at 153.
All right, what did you want to make official on this?
Yeah, let's go with UMass Lowell over.
UMass Lowell over. Okay, sorry, I was kind of looking towards UMass Lowell full game at +12. Okay, let's give you the UMass Lowell over right now. Here we go. Get it in there, and quickly there. Bang. Okay, over 153.5 at -110 is the best I can give you.
Yeah, all right, that's fine. I'll take that.
All right, Stone. Okay, keep rolling.
Okay, so next we're going to go to this Northwestern State game. Plain and simply, I'm taking Northwestern on the first half. I think that they can at least win this first half. I'm only going to take the points, but the numbers like them by about 4 points, 4 to 6 points on the first half. So give me Northwestern State. It's an ugly little dog, but I think that against Abilene Christian, they're going to be able to stay in it at least first half. This is a team that can score the basketball. This is a team that makes their free throws. This is a team that guards the three-point line half decently. So I expect them to be able to do that on their home floor. And I will point out that there was some serious line movement. This game opened as a pick'em and is up to 5 right now.
Wow. So you want Northwestern at home full game +5.5?
No. I want Northwestern State first half.
My fault. Here we go. Northwestern State first half. Let's pull this up as fast as possible. And there we have it. Northwestern State first half. I can give you a +3 at -115 at Heritage, or a +2.5 at +100 at Bovada.
No, I'll take the +3.
+3. Okay, keep rolling, Max.
All right, so then we're going to go to this Loyola Maryland Holy Cross first half. This is a Holy Cross team that just isn't very good, does not match up against a team that can go up-tempo like Loyola Maryland. If you get lured into this game, Loyola Maryland can make enough shots and get to the free throw line enough like they do. This is a volume free throw shooting team that can just crucify Holy Cross. I think that when you look at Holy Cross, definitely a lot weaker in first halves than full games. I watch a lot of Patriot League basketball. That's why I am the Patriot League Master. And the Patriot League Master says that Loyola Maryland has a 5 to 8 point 3-point first half advantage, and I'm taking them first half, Jim.
First half, let's give that to you right now. First half, I'm on. Let's go and grab it right now. Loyola, Maryland, we can give you a -3 at +101.
Yeah, I'll take that.
All right, Loyola, Maryland. Okay, keep rolling.
Okay, so next game we're going to go to is simple Colgate. Full game, -6.5 or -7, depending on what you can give me, Jim. Plain and simple, Colgate against Lehigh is a bad matchup for Lehigh. If Lehigh had the kind of three-point shooting that they had last year, that'd be a different story. If you don't have James Karnick to go along with Nick Lynch, then, well, Nick Lynch had a great 25-point game. I'm not convinced that he's able to carry that over against the likes of Will Raymond and Rapalus Ivanauskas. So simply, I think that Colgate's guard play can match up. I think that the combination of Nelly Cummings and Jordan Burns can limit Jordan Cohen from drilling threes. I believe that when it comes to free throw shooting, both these teams can make free throws, but I think that Colgate is going to put Lehigh on the line less than they want to be. I think that Colgate can guard without fouling. I think that they can defend the three-point line, and I look for Colgate to get back on track ATS-wise, and I think that they cash this game and win this game by double digits.
Colgate, I can give you -7 and -105. That's available at Bookmaker.
Okay, I'll take that.
Okay, how many more? Just because we're running out of time, I need to put a plan together. How many more do you think, Max?
Yeah, no, I'll stop there.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'll stop there. There's always, I could just post them to Twitter.
Absolutely. Colgate -7 and -105. All right, Max, we got to go to the play of the day, but there are some big games that we haven't got to. So just like quick 30-second hit of Villanova, Butler. Butler right now at home, 2.5-point favorites. What do you think here?
Yeah, I don't like Villanova on the road. I don't like Villanova against a team that can really slow them down and limit their three-point attempts. If their three-point shot isn't dropping, Villanova is susceptible. So I'd be looking at Butler, no play officially.
Iowa State opened up as 12.5-point dogs at West Virginia, 13th-ranked West Virginia. 2-point move at Pinnacle, now +10.5. What do you think here?
Yeah, it's a complete pass.
Iowa, 17th-ranked Iowa, opened up as 3.5-point dogs, now 4.5-point dogs at Pinnacle against Purdue. Purdue's so good at home. What do you think here?
Yeah, Purdue definitely is a different animal offensively at home. This is a Purdue team that you can actually expect to score points. I'd be more looking towards the over in this game than aside, because I would have taken Purdue at 3 or 3.5. But now looking that you want to give Iowa, because you want to give Iowa that more than a bucket, that gives me a little bit of trepidation, only because if you're going to get the consistent performance from Frederick and Wieskamp to go along with Luka Garza and his newfound three-point shot, well, that's going to be hard to stop someone late when they are gunning for that lead and trying to cover that spread.
Max, Seton Hall opens up as a 1-point favorite, now 3-point favorite, 3.5 at some books on the road at Georgetown. What do you think here?
Yeah, I think we made the same mistake with the St. John's team. People will say that St. John's and Seton Hall are a completely different class, but I think that Georgetown definitely has some confidence, momentum. They have a dominant big man. When you have a dominant scoring big man in Power 5 basketball, it makes a big difference. I think Mac McClung is a big loss. I think that Georgetown can win this game and stay within the number. If they get to the free throw line, they win the battle on the boards, and they can find a way to lock down Miles Powell.
Very quickly, quick hits here. Taint play today is straight fire right now, and it's Matt Randall on the Miami Hurricanes at home against North Carolina State. What do you think about the Taint play today?
Yeah, it's the Taint play of the day. Sign me up and make it official.
Okay, and I'm going to make it official for myself as well. Do you want the +3.5 or you want the money line?
No, I'll take the 3.5.
I can give you a +3.5 at -101 at 5 dimes. Miami +3.5 at -101. I will tail that. I tailed 2 of Max's plays, and I will be on Max's play of the day. Let's do that quickly. The play of the day went through some bad times, and it's now coming back, and it's coming back fast. Rafa, can you please put up the play of the day record very quickly? And while the play of the day record's in there, one final look that I find interesting, Max, is this Wisconsin-Minnesota spot. Minnesota at home opens up at -3.5, now -3. What do you think here?
Yeah, it's a spot where I think that Minnesota is able to take advantage of the fact that they lose Kobe King. Obviously, you get Brad Davison back, so you do have to be aware that he could be gunning for a big game to just like pump his chest out. But from a number perspective, my numbers liked Minnesota, but I haven't got to the window with it at all.
All right, Max and I both rolling with Taint. Taint's hit 7 straight, and it's making our life better by the minute. Okay, Max, play of the daytime. Take it away.
Yeah, we've already talked about this game. Northern Iowa, first half, I see them as having a significant advantage over Valparaiso early. I think that Valparaiso struggles with teams of this stature. Northern Iowa is a potential tournament team. I'll take them first half. Jim, what number can you give me?
I'm grabbing it right now. Northern Iowa. Let's find it here on the board. We are on first halves, right? Tell me we're on first halves, please. We are. Okay, Northern Iowa, first half. I can give you -1.5 at -110. That's available at about 4 different books. How's that sound?
Is that the best number?
That's the best number, -1.5 at -110. There's -2s at -105, or the best number I can get you at 1.5 is 110.
See, I like them to win this first half by 5 points, so I'll take the -2 at -105.
Wow, ball sack out. Northern Iowa first half -2 at -105. Northern Iowa first half -2 at -105. That is Max's play of the day, and he's doubling up on Northern Iowa, and I will as well. All right, so let me grab Northern Iowa -2 at -105, and then I'm going to take them full game. Now, Max put in Northern Iowa early, so I can't get what he got. Let's see what I can get right now for Northern Iowa, but the market's going against them, right? So I should get a good line here. Let's see what I'm getting very quickly. Northern Iowa, come on, give it to me. All right, there we go. -3 at -108. Northern Iowa -3, full game. I'm going to jump on that. Northern Iowa -3 at -108. I'm tailing 5 looks on this card. Western Carolina first half -2.5 plus 108. Loyola Maryland first half -3 plus 101. Miami Hurricanes Saint play today at +3.5 -101. Northern Iowa Max's play today first half -2 at -105, and Northern Iowa full game -3 at -108. Max is on the play today. Northern Iowa first half -2 -105. Miami +3.5. Colgate -7. Loyola Maryland first half -3. Northwestern State first half +3. Stony Brook over 153.5. Creighton +2. Lamar first half -2. Maine first half +12.5. Maine full game +22. Fullerton over 133. Omaha over 143.5. Albany under 146. Hartford +3. Hartford under 133.5. North Dakota State -2. Northern Iowa -2.5. Long Beach State +1.5. Loyola Chicago under 128. That's also a Noli Nose spot. Western Carolina first half -2.5. Western Carolina full game -3.5. Citadel over 146. Max, I'm already on Western Carolina first half -2.5. Do you think I should jump on Western Carolina full game double up?
Yeah, I think so. I think that this is the perfect team for Western Carolina to really show their offensive muscle against. And Sanford, for their tempo, they're definitely going to try and go bucket for bucket with Western Carolina. We'll see how successful they are.
All right, Western Carolina, I'm going to get full game here. Full game -3.5. Market's going against it. And I am not scared. And going against the market, as I put in Max's moves every day, Max has been very successful. It was something that I was hesitant to do over the last couple of years, but I stopped doing it because I was off to a bad start this year. All right, there, I've added that as well. Okay, so let's take a look at the cappers in the chat, what we're on, and put a bow on this as fast as possible. Apologies for going late. Raven in the Desert is on the under in the West Virginia game. Our guy Tease is on South Carolina -1. Raven in the Desert also put together a little parlay. Butler money line, Providence money line, St. Louis money line, Oklahoma State money line. That's at +647 for our Raven in the Desert. MJ, a.k.a. Michael Jordan, 4-place night. Seton Hall, Minnesota Gophers, OKC, and Toronto. There it is right there. Pablo Castaneda, I will ask Teddy that question tomorrow. Matt Cratcha, is talking about thoughts on TC. Okay, I'm going to keep rolling here. AM plus money, Cyprus Division 1. Apoel Nicosia, -118. And in the Turkey Cup, he's on a draw in the Galatasaray game at +260. Rod Zawacki play today. South Carolina +1. Creighton +2. Nova +2.5. Seton Hall -3. St. Bonaventure -9.5. Wofford -6.5. And a little parlay, Birdcage South parlay for Rod Zawacki. Carolina, Nova, Creighton at +8 10. Teddy Covers is on the Nets -7 and the Suns -2.5. Mark Unca for play of the day is on the Raptors -6. I will be going right up against that. Alex Ramirez and I are on the same spot for his Spidey play of the day. Rangers money line. I like it. Joshua Bell making a little 3-team parlay. Mercer -12, Villanova +2.5, and Creighton +1. Lamont Williams coming off a parlay winner last night. Indiana, Toronto under 216, and Atlanta mini over 236.5, and St. Louis -3 going for a big score there. Anna Merrick, John Jones by decision of +230. His parlays, KGB Lee and Morono at -125. That's a 2-unit spot. He's also on Bektik and Miles Johns at -125. Robert Allen, play of the day, South Carolina. He's also on Minnesota -3. 2 looks there. Matt Randall, Tank play today, going for 8 in a row at +3. In the association, I'm on the Clippers -6.5. I'm on Donovan Mitchell over 22.5 points in Nuggets Jazz. I am on Karl Anthony Towns over 28.5 points and John Collins over 20.5 points. I still may make a move on Cavaliers first quarter +4.5, but I want to make sure that I can do that and not look like an ass. Pacers +6.5. God, I can't wait to watch that game. Suns -2.5, -105. That was an addition. And in NHL, I doubled up on that hockey game. I took the Rangers and the under 7. And the Kings back play today. Navy American under 133.5. Let's have a giant day. Maxwell Smart, thank you for sharing all your hard work with us. It's an honor to cap with you. Follow this man on Twitter at CBMS420. CBMS420. Max, can you please leche us into the future?
Absolutely. I can leche us into the future like John Jones made Daniel Cormier cry like a woman. Leche a los bookmakers!